Hi everyone and welcome to episode 287 at Mighty White's podcast. I'm Jack, as always joined by KC.
Know that?
How's things, mate?
Yeah, pretty good, thanks. You?
Yeah, all good. Work done at a decent time, which is nice, and no work tomorrow, so that always helps.
I wish I could say the same.
Yeah. It's nice to have real football back because even though the results were fine for England and stuff, until the tournament starts, I couldn't bring myself to care about the internationals, except for the main international story, which is San Marino getting promoted in the Nations League.
Yes, here we go.
I did give a shit about that.
I mean, it's whatever the group of death is, I suppose, is what that was, of San Marino, Liechtenstein, and Gibraltar, who each one of them, I assume, the fact that's wheeled out is whenever England play them is insert nation here wouldn't fill this stadium.
Yeah, I mean, what is it now that San Marino have won? Is it 4 games ever and 3 games ever, and 2 of them are Liechtenstein?
Yes, 2 of them are in this Nations League.
Yeah, but you know that was the main international football story that was worth talking about. This podcast won't be very long because we did all the going backwards, and it's just mainly previewing the Swansea game. And we're not far enough into the season to give a shit and talk about other teams' games yet. Swansea are 11th. They're very mid-table. The thing that I hadn't realised is only one of their league games has been decided by more than 1 goal.
God, this makes for some very dull reading here.
Yeah, it's very, very all of their games are tight. Of course, 15 games, scored 11, conceded 10.
Of course, it was Preston.
Yeah, and it was early Preston as well. I think that they had sacked Ryan Lowe because didn't that come after 1 game?
Yes.
But it was only just after Ryan Lowe. Yeah, so they've been really keeping it tight this season, which is not so much what you expect with Luke Williams, given how he was at Notts County and how he was when he first came in. These seem very different to the early Luke Williams side that Leeds faced last season, where they just parked on the halfway line. And any time they gave the ball away, Leeds just looked like they were going to score. We could have had about 10.
I really enjoyed that tactic. I thought it was bold and innovative. I think it failed horrendously, but I liked it.
Yeah, because I remember Nonto had a really good game in that. But the truth is, with the amount of space they were giving us, you could have probably rotated the entire front four and we'd have still won.
Yeah, I mean, when you're giving players like Nonto a third of the pitch to run into, bad things are going to happen.
Yeah. But although the principle of they do have a shed load of possession in basically every game, and with them being at home, you would think that they'll still try and do the same thing, even though most teams have sort of just sat back against us and let us have the ball. But I don't think Swansea are going to do that. At Ellen Road, they might. But away, you'd think that they'd keep trying to do it. So this might be a bit of a frustrating game to watch at times, because they are good at keeping hold of the ball. The other thing that I noticed, and this, I had the All Stats and We Pod in the background while I was working today, and they had a Swansea guy on, and one of the things that came up was that their XG is not bad overall, but their shots on target per game is less than 3 on average. So it seems like they create some fairly big chances, but if they're not on it, they don't create much at all. So if we can press them,
they might have 1 or 2 each game.
Yeah,
but
so it seems like if you defend well against them, they're not exactly going to do something so good that they're going to tear you to shreds if you're on it. But it'll be a weird game, this, because we're not used to seeing Leeds have a lot of time without the ball. And it appears that from the way they set up, the best thing to do would be to let them have the ball and try and catch them.
Yeah. Like you say, looking at that run of fixtures they've put together, or run of results they've put together, All close single-figure games, aside from the Preston game. Last time out, lost to Burnley, 94th minute penalty they conceded for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I know we probably will end up saying this every week now. It's a team I look at and think there's not many players in their starting lineup I'd be looking going, I want them in. I would like them in the Leeds team.
No,
and that's not a knock on anyone apart from Matt Grimes. But you know, Grimey will come back, and I'm sure he'll bring his mum with him or something.
Yeah. Our centre-back partnership is good, so you wouldn't change it. From what I've seen of him, I've always quite liked Ben Cabango.
Yeah,
a decent defender. I have no idea about Harry Darling, who's apparently the other centre-back. The truth is, I've never heard that name in my life.
Calm down, darling. Cabango is the other one I've quite liked as well, but as you say, not to the extent I'd be bringing him into our team. Like, Grimes has been a good player for them for the last few years now, and he's kind of there.
He's their main man in there.
Yeah. Joe Allen is obviously talented with I will say, limited mobility at this point in footballing terms.
Yeah, that was another thing that has been mentioned with him. He's been injured a lot this season. So I don't know if he's even going to be fit to play.
I mean, looking here, Kyle Norton.
Yeah, who I want to say is about 40, but him and Kyle Walker came through at similar times, didn't they?
Yeah.
So he's probably, I think Kyle Walker's 33, so I bet Kyle Norton's like 34. He just feels like he's older.
No, he's 36.
Oh, right. Oh,
he is old.
Did they not come through at the same time then? Have I just completely misremembered that?
0809.
Because they were both Sheffield United, weren't they?
Yeah, 0809. That's his year playing for Sheffield United with his sort of 2 years at Sheffield United with a loan spell at Gretna, which is very much a throwback.
That is Gretna with some money and Gavin Skelton and Kenny Ducar.
Yeah. Much like Kyle Walker, he gets the move to Spurs.
And Kyle Walker's 2 games in the first team at Sheffield United in the league were 0809.
Yeah, so he's come through like a year before.
Yeah.
A couple of years out on loan, and then joined Swansea in 2015. Yeah. Fair play to that man. He is settled.
Yeah, apparently now, this was another thing that the Swansea fans mentioned. He's their Sam Byram. He's like backup right back, he's backup left back, and in a pinch, he's your backup centre back as well. So he shouldn't play much. It was like Grimes, even though we didn't see this when he was at Leeds, he's got quite a good range of passing, he's tidy on the ball, so he's probably the main one that you need to get some pressure on. Gonzalo Franco will probably be alongside him, I don't know anything about. But Liam Cullen, who has been playing as their number 10 mostly, he's quite a good player. And he's just one of them, he's busy and he always looks lively enough. I was going to say he's their joint top scorer, but that doesn't really say much because their joint top scorers are him and Zan Vipotnik, who have 2 each.
Oh, it's a George Graham situation. This is Brian Dean and Lee Sharp all over again.
I mean,
actually,
what was it? How many did we score in that George Graham season? Was it 28 in 38 games?
It's something like I'm pretty sure in the league they were joint top scorers with about 5 each.
Yeah. Well, if they've scored 11 in 15 games and only conceded 10, if you multiply that out, it is kind of, it's not a million miles off ratio-wise from the George Graham one, which I'm really surprised at given how Luke Williams' football was. I know that he had a big budget when he was in the National League with Notts County in League Two, but it was really like aggressive, very attacking football. So I'm surprised to see the numbers be this low.
Yeah, sorry, just confirm for the 96-97 season. Dean and Sharp 5 each in the league. Rod Wallace overall top scorer with 8.
Oh, God,
So,
8.
so he had a good cup run, did Rod Wallace?
Yeah. I've always like Josh Tymon's always been a pretty decent player at left back. There was a time where I quite fancied us signing him. Obviously, we've got a bit of an issue at left back for this game because Junior Firpo's still suspended. And I don't know if you've seen the press conference today, but not that he would have played him, but Isaac Schmidt has had hernia surgery in the international break. So it's definitely Sam Byron.
I mean, is Max Verber? He exists.
He would be the next in line.
I mean, it will. I know it will be Byron.
Yeah.
But Max, I don't know if mighty might be a stretch in this one, but how
the middling have fallen.
Like how the warrior doth fall. Like I'm not good enough for the championship, and now Daniel Farks looks and going, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, but yeah, he would be the next in line at left back, unless we're like really chasing a game, and then it's Dan James probably.
Moves Pascal Strauchin actually and puts, I don't know, one of the kids in there.
Yeah.
Anything to not play Max Verber.
Sam Chambers, you ever played left back? But yeah, it's very much not a squad that you're looking at and thinking that's scary. They've got a new goalkeeper in Lawrence Vigouroux, who's always an interesting player to talk about because he got in the Chile squad while he was at Swindon.
Oh, nice.
He didn't get a cap, but he got called up. He's got I think a couple of under-20 caps, but he played for Swindon for years. Was their first choice. Got in the Chile squad. Went out to Chile and didn't play. Came back, went to Leyton Orient. Was their first choice for 3 years. And then last season, Burnley bought him for the Premier League out of nowhere. I know it was to be third choice, but still, it was a weird move. And then now he's first choice at Swansea, which you won't often see. First choice in League Two gets a Premier League move for 1 year, and then first choice in the Championship the next year.
What a career this man's had.
I can't remember where he went in Chile, but he definitely went somewhere.
Everton. He went to Everton.
Yep.
That man's also played for Waterford.
Has he? I didn't know that. He was Spurs as a kid, I think.
Yeah, Spurs as a kid, loaned to Hyde, and then moved to Liverpool.
He was at Liverpool?
He was at Liverpool.
Oh.
Spent most of his time at Liverpool on loan at Swindon. Went to Swindon, who moved him on to Waterford.
He was basically Ben Burton Diaz before Ben Burton Diaz.
Yeah.
Was long to ago.
What what a guy.
Yeah. Based on everything that I've read and the little bits I have seen, it still looks like their fullbacks invert into the middle of midfield a lot, which is why I want Dan James over Manor Solomon even more so than usual, because I think there's going to be some real space to hit. The only thing that might stop him doing that is that this season Nonto has been much better on the right than the left, so he might want to keep that. And it was Nonto on the right when he had really good games against Swansea last season.
I know we're fresh off an international break. I wouldn't necessarily mind Nonto missing this game. Going into this break, I think he's been mediocre at best. I think he's had a run of, we'll say, quiet games for him.
Yeah.
If you told me you were going James and Solomon to start, I wouldn't be against it for a game.
Yeah, I will say that I would, but I understand what you mean. The last few games he has been off it. If you were gonna do it just to say, I don't know if he went away with anyone. I would say anyone. Was he with the Italy under-21s? He was. I know that he played. I don't know any more specific than that because the truth is I don't care.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. For me, if you were going to just have to give him another game to give him a bit of a break before we sort of kick on now going into Christmas, I'd be fine with it.
Yeah, I don't think that the international break is going to have as much effect this time because he didn't really bother letting the proximity to international football make a difference in the last international break. And on that one, we had to play Friday night against Sheffield United.
Yeah.
And he threw them all in. Like, Firpo hadn't even trained, had he? And he just threw him straight back in.
I was going to say, Tanaka was nigh on fresh off the plane.
Yeah. So I don't think it's going to make a difference. He's not going to start, but one interesting thing out of the press conference, Laji Ramazani has been back in team training. Obviously, Leeds have got 3 games in a week now. And Farke said he's not expecting Ramazani to start any of those games, but that he could be on the bench as soon as Sunday.
I mean, it's very good news. I think he has definitely been missed in this run of games. In fact, I would almost say you could see pretty much just falling off the moment he gets injured in that Watford game.
In terms of,
so I say falling off.
Yeah.
Like as if we're not doing well this season.
Yeah, we had one bad result.
But I certainly think in terms of the performances you've seen since he got injured, there's definitely taken a dip. And I'm not saying he's carrying the entire team on his back, but that might be the reason he's injured.
Yeah, you'd say we've lost a little bit of dynamism up top, wouldn't you?
I'd say a lot of dynamism.
Yeah.
But Joe Peru's also played in those games, so it could be a bit of both.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I suppose there won't be much to talk in terms of team selection. Meslier in goal, Bogle at right back, Roden and Strauch, Byram left back, Tanaka and Rothwell. Aronson was ill during the international break, but still played, so I'm assuming he's fine. So Aronson 10. And then you can argue about wingers. I think that it'll be Nonto and Solomon, but I would be James and Nonto.
Yeah, I think it would be Nonto and Solomon as well.
And then the other discussion point is Peru or Joseph. Joseph played the last game. Joseph did score again, went away with Spain's under-21s. But I think it'll be Peru for this one.
Sorry, I was looking for a coin to flip then at this point. Because it's
basically a cashless society now. You're never going to have a coin.
Yeah, I feel that's kind of where Farke's selection is at this point with these two. You every game he's going to sit there and go, well, one actually scores goals, but the other does work really hard and sometimes scores goals.
Do you think that might be, if Solomon starts, it's Joseph, and if it's James and Nonto, it's Peru?
He's balancing out balancing out the workload across the bench.
Balancing out the pressing a bit.
Yeah.
I don't actually think Solomon's a bad presser. It's just that if you run him hard, he's going to get injured immediately.
Yeah. I think he scored during the internationals, didn't he?
I don't actually know.
I could be making that up, but
didn't they play Belgium? They beat Belgium. He didn't score, but they did beat Belgium, which is a surprising result.
Sorry, it's very confusing because I've just typed Mana Solomon into Google and his ESPN profile is just Joel Peru's picture.
Huh.
It's like I'm looking going, I don't know Mana Solomon well.
I'm going to keep this non-specific. I think that there would be some differences there. And then we'll move on.
I'm looking at that picture and Joel Peru looks a bit tired.
Yeah. I'm because I think he'll go with Solomon, I think he'll go with Joseph. And then probably switch him in midweek against Luton.
I mean, I do find it quite funny, having had, obviously, a stretch in the Premier League where Nonto did very well playing off the left-hand side before, again, the weight of an entire fan base and team resting on his, at the time, 19-year-old shoulders.
Yeah.
Just brought him down with the rest of us. And then a good half a season of just not being used, despite the fact he was probably still one of our better players. It's very odd now to see that the times he does play on the left, he doesn't look as comfortable there as he did when he first came in. And I don't know if that's just because he spent so much time playing as a right-sided player now. Because again, it's one of those things like, we all sat there in that ill-fated season watching Nonto going, God, if someone's going to save us, it's going to be him.
Yeah.
But him cutting in off the left was, worked pretty well for a period of time. And, I understand last season why we didn't go to it with Somerville, but I found it interesting that it's not something we've really looked at this season as we clearly decided fairly early on, no, Nonto to me is a right-sided player, and that's why I'm going to get two left-sided players.
Yeah, I before, if say it was back end of May, I would have been very surprised at that. But yeah, that looks like where we are. The other thing is that with Aronson being ill through the international break, if he isn't 100% right, I suppose then you've got two options. One would be the one that I'd like to see, which is Nonto 10, and you can play James and Solomon if you want. The other one, I suppose, would be that you play Giavogi and put Rothwell at 10. I mean, I think Aronson's going to be fit anyway, so it's probably not going to matter. But
I mean, I would also have thought Piru at 10.
Oh, and Piru at 10, Joseph
at
12. You see, what worries me about that is that if you do that, you've got Joe Piru directly responsible for Matt Grimes. And Matt Grimes, he may not be rapid and stuff, but he's probably quicker than Piru. And his range of passing, if you give him space, is good. But one player I don't want doing that job is Joe Piru.
Yeah. It'd be. I mean, I think it's probably the team we called, and yeah, I do think it's Joseph that probably starts this one.
Right.
Joseph started the last game, didn't he? And
he did, yeah.
And then Piru scored.
Yeah, because he's off the bench.
He's off the bench.
I'm going to say it now that I think Joe Piru scores. I don't think Joe Piru starts, and I do think he scores.
Yeah, he's got himself a nice little niche there. To be honest, if you get to be one of those players in this day and age where you just go, no, just 20 minutes, that's all I need.
And then if he's anything like any other footballer in history, just don't call him a super sub to his face.
Yeah,
because players always get mad at that.
Yeah.
I haven't heard back from Connie yet, but Benny has gone for a 3-0 win and Alex has gone for a 4-0 win. I think they are being a bit optimistic there, given the way Swansea season's going. But I do think they've got the nil right, which is brave with Leeds. But I'm going 2-0, and I think it'll be quite a frustrating watch, but we'll get one. And then when they have to come out, we'll pick up a second, probably in the last 5 minutes, through Joel Piru on the counter.
I'm going to be the negative one here, and I'm going to say it's a 1-1 draw.
1-1 draw there. Yeah, I'm looking at their sort of paucity in front of goal and looking at how good our defence has been. And it's a rare level of confidence in us keeping a clean sheet. So you should probably all get your money on Swansea scoring like over 2.5 goals. But yeah, I do fancy us to win this. I do wonder, it's another one of them weird ones where we've got 3 games in a week, so we'll have to see how they handle that going forward. But yeah, if we can start it off well, like, it's so weird that Luton is the game that I'm fearing, because even though they've been awful, I still look at their team and go, how are you bad? Like, I don't get how they're bad.
You're essentially still the team that was competing in the Premier League with most of these teams. And even though I know you were losing games you were losing those games, it was never by much, and you were very competitive in them.
You've lost Ross Barkley. That shouldn't make that much difference. But yeah, we'll probably be back. I don't know, Monday evening, maybe.
Yes.
Yeah,
they should be able to do that.
Yeah, I'm done at work at I think I'm on a first thing in the morning start, so I should be done by 2:30, 3 o'clock. So whenever's good for you after that. But yeah, so we've got us winning this. We'll probably need to win this because we're in that weird position where even though all the stats say we're doing great and everyone's got us as massive favourites for promotion, that the fan base is still on that any bad result and it turns quite quickly. Knife edge. So and because there's been a gap since we haven't got we won the last game because it's not in your mind anymore. It's gone now.
Well, I mean, just like if we lose this and then QPR get themselves on a bit of a run, we're basically down there with them.
Yeah, we're suddenly fighting relegation. But yeah, that'll do us for episode 287. It was always going to be a short one, as Mondays may well be as well. Although we'll have a bit more to talk about. It'll just be a bit more condensed. So yeah, that is everything, I believe. So, to add, Casey?
No, I think we're good.
Cool, nice one. Right, well, I've been Jack. See ya.
I'm Casey.